name's David Woodhead. I'm from NT, Northern Territory, and I've been doing comedy now for 5 years. Six years now. 6 years now. Comedy Zone is a showcase full of 6 amazing comedians that the festival put on every year. It's hand-picked. They pick you from a sea of other debaucherous comedians, and they pick you up like a little claw machine, and they drop you into the dream land that is the Melbourne Comedy Festival, where you perform for 21 nights and 10 minutes each. It's an hour-long show. It's very tight. You know, you're in and out. You're out by 9:30. You can go get some dinner or have an early night for work the next day. You know, perfect way to start/end a night. My pre-show ritual: have a beer and a ciggy. I'm from Darwin, so that's my pre-show. That's my ritual for everything. You know. Yeah, that's pretty much. I don't really do much. I should do voice exercises, but I don't do anything. Just get up and kill.
I'm feeling good as well. I'm feeling very good. It's been a year since I decided to lose some weight, and I've lost 60 kilos over the past year. I've lost 60 kilos. Thank you. You guys are like, I don't believe you. How fat were you? I know I'm still a fat dude. But the difference is now, I'm a fun fat dude. I'm a fun fatty, all right? Where a year ago I was a sad fat dude. I was a sad fatty. And the main difference between a fun fat dude and a sad fat dude is if I go to the bar tonight as a fun fatty and just take 10 shots of tequila and rip my shirt off like Hulk Hogan, you guys would be like, oh, fuck yes. The party started. Big Fat Dave just ripped his shirt off. You'd love it. If I did that a year ago, though, you guys would be like, oh, fuck no. Party's over. Because Big Fat Dave just ripped his shirt off and he's sweating in my beer. This is disgusting.
My thoughts on the other comics. I've only, really met most of them today. I despise every single one of them. I think they're going to be unfortunately, the bodies that I lay to rest to get to the start of. No, they're great. I love them all. They're good. They're good people and very friendly, very nice. They're literally sitting right out of frame. So this is one of the most awkward questions I've ever had to answer. Like I met Kochan like a year ago. Yeah. A year ago, yeah. He's really good. I think they're all funny. I've seen a bit of their stuff, and it's all good. I hope they like me too. That's the question that really matters. What do they think about me? My first ever gig was for Class Clowns, which is like for high school students, like a competition that the festival does. And it was in Darwin. Like, this is a true story. Just before I was supposed to get on stage, I bought new pants for the occasion, but I was very nervous and I didn't actually test them out. And when I sat down, the first time I sat down that whole day, I ripped them, and I had to do my first gig with a huge rip just up the calf. Oh no, what's this part called? This part. That part there. That one. And it was just right just before the package, and it was. But I was able to kind of pull my shirt down. I was pulling my shirt down to pretty much my knees, and did the gig, and went all right. Went pretty good.
I don't want to be at my funeral and someone had given a eulogy and just being like, David Woodhead, a big man with a big heart, Just some weird backhanded compliment. I don't want that. Then afterwards they have a big buffet to celebrate my life. Like lasagna, chicken wings, chicken parmesanas for some reason. And everyone's just like, oh, David would have loved this.
One thing about myself that many people would know, I don't know. I don't even know myself. What would people not know about me?
I'm from Darwin. Has anyone been to Darwin? Has anyone been? Yeah? Yeah, cool, yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. It's real laid back. That's what you hear. If you go to Darwin, people are so laid back. It's awesome. To their detriment. Like, they're so laid. This is a true story. In 1974, on Christmas Eve, there was a cyclone coming called Cyclone Tracy. Ever heard of Cyclone Tracy? Yeah, big cyclone, all right? And during time, there was like a big announcement on all the TV and radio just saying, ladies and gentlemen, all citizens of Darwin, please evacuate the town. There's a cyclone coming. It's going to kill everyone. It's going to destroy everything. And as a community, Darwin, we rallied together and we said, nah, mate, it's Christmas Eve. I just chucked the ham in, all right? Look, I'll make you a deal, all right? If the cyclone comes, Santa Claus will come down on his sleigh and karate chop the dog back to Indonesia, all right? I'm not leaving. I don't know. I don't know, actually. What would people not know? This is, it's very... And this is still how laid back people in Darwin are. They took 6 months to debate whether they should rebuild Darwin. Half a year. Some of them couldn't be fucked. So I was go stay at Perth with my cousin, drink some emu lagers, wait for it to grow back. I don't know how cities work. I had a pet turtle as a kid. He ran away. His name was Chumpers. The fucking turtle ran away. My mum put him down for a second, because you have to walk the turtles. Like, they can't just stay in their tank. My mum went inside and it came out and the turtle was gone and we couldn't find it. And so I lost a turtle. That's something people might not know about me. What else I'll be doing in the festival? I'll be chilling. Like I said, I'll be smoking darts, drinking beers. I'll go seeing a bunch of other shows like Jack Men's Best Newcomer. That's what the show's called. Yeah, just kind of go and just enjoy. I've never done the whole month of the comedy festival, so I'll just be enjoying that and having a good time. Yeah.
My name's Ben Kochan from New South Wales, and I've been doing comedy for 7 years, which I think usually they like people to be like doing comedy for less than that in Comedy Zone. So let's say 3.
Like, I was standing next to a pretty lady once at a bus stop and she dropped her book and look out, Mr. Foot's on the move, yeah? Mr. Size 6, he's having a go. But you wouldn't believe this, I actually caught this 400-page hardback book on my foot. I balanced it there for a second, I flicked it up, I did a 360, I caught it in one motion, I handed it back to her, I said, I think you dropped something. Then later she opened it up, actually wrote my number on the bookmark. Pretty good.
I do a slightly higher voice on stage. I do a funny voice, a little bit, not like this, a little bit higher. And sometimes I'll tell the truth, but then other times I'll just make stuff up. I'll say my grandma's in the hospital because she fell off a mechanical bull and stuff like that. But it's pretty close stuff.
Obviously none of that happened, guys. You got me. If you want to know what actually happened, my foot got there a little bit late and ended up kicking her book into a muddy gutter. Really smashed it as well. Didn't know what to do, just pretended I was a bad boy. So that's what you get for reading.
Well, I'm a tennis coach. I recently I broke the land speed record. So people might not know that about me. I'm the fastest living creature. So that's pretty interesting.
But there's this one kid, he can't quite say bombs and torpedoes. He calls it bombs and pedos. This is actually true, and this is the end of the lesson when all the parents are coming to pick up their kids. For some reason, all the other kids started teasing this one kid. They started chanting, pedo man, pedo man, pedo man. I know, not a good look for the tennis coach with a handlebar moustache. I didn't want to go on the defensive. I feel like that makes me look even more guilty. So I just went on the offensive, started teasing the kid as well. I was like, yeah, pedo man, this kid over here. Come on, kids, give me a P, give me an A. Kid was pretty upset about it, understandably, and his mum came up to me after the lesson. She was like, "Why was everyone calling my son pedo, man?" I was like, "I don't know how to tell you this, but your son's a pedophile." So it's...
Actually, I know my comedy goal. I want to be sponsored by Guzman Y Gomez. And I think if I keep bringing them up, which I do a lot, I talk about them on stage. If I keep bringing them up, I think they will sponsor me. So that's the big goal.
I was already just going to start saying all sorts of horrible things about me to the entire bar, you know? Who knows what else he knew about me? He could have been like, "Dude, you got no money, and also you've dropped out of uni twice. Also, you get your mum to shave your neck. That's weird. You keep challenging people to fights by saying they got to answer to a couple of fellas called Guzman and Gomez. Stop doing that."
Probably go to Guzman Y Gomez. And my Airbnb is pretty good. We have a gym, a pool, and a sauna. So I'm going to be doing that every day. I'm going to get shredded. It's not good for comedy to be in good shape, but I'm going to, by the end of the festival, I want to have a 12-pack and quite defined traps. I kind of want them to be up to my ears. I'm going to do only trap work at the gym.
My mum gave me the sex talk, and to this day, it's the worst memory I have in my narrow noodle. She said to me, "You know your dad's penis, right?" That's how she started. I don't know what book she got that from. The Birds, the Bees, and You Know Your Dad's Penis.org. Also, I shouldn't know my dad's penis, you know what I mean? And if you know your dad's penis, you're part of a weird family, you know what I mean? And then she said to me, "Well, usually his penis will be like this." She gave me a visual aid, which I thought was nice. And then she said, "And when he has sex, his penis will go from like this to like this." And to this day, that's the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm pretty bad at flyering. I try not to annoy people, and I feel like flyering annoys people. But I don't know if I have any good stories. I used to fly with a friend of mine, Simon Bosco, and he had a very self-deprecating approach, or he'd hand them a flyer and say, "Can you put this in the bin for me?" And he'd say, "You can use it as a fan." So I don't know if that's not a good thing to do, but it made me laugh.
Because this happened to me recently. A comedian friend of mine said that one of his friends saw me do stand-up, and apparently she said she would never date me because my head is too narrow. Your laughter is very cruel. How dare you?
It's a Comedy Zone. It's on at 8:30 at the Trades Hall. Every night except Wednesday. I think that's it. What else can I say about it? It's going to be great. Yep. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
So, my name is Charity Werk, and I'm 26, and I'm a homosexual. I grew up in Melbourne. I've lived here my whole life, and I've just recently started to get into stand-up, which has been a whole fun new venture for me. It's been good. My pre-show ritual is pretty much getting dressed because it takes me 2 hours to get this gorgeous. Mostly it's just a lot of swearing and fucking it up and having to start again and telling myself that I'm not actually going to go to the gig, but then I always pull through and eventually get to the gig, even if I've got one eye lopsided or something like that. So that's my pre-show ritual, a lot of swearing.
As you can see, I do like to get dressed up. I come from a pretty flamboyant family. When I was 18, my dad bursts into the kitchen and is like, "I can't hold it in anymore." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Dad, what is it?" And he's like, "I don't know how to tell you this, but you're gay." And I'm just like completely stunned. You know, I'm like sitting there in my sequin gown, just like, how does he know?
Raw comedy for me was how it all began. Like, I had always gone to see the Raw Comedy Grand Final with my boyfriend, and we were always in the audience watching it. And one year I went to see the year that Danielle Walker won, and I was saying to my boyfriend, I was like, she's incredible, and if someone that weird can win, surely I can have a good go of it. So that next year, I was like, that's it, I'm going to do Raw. So I went to look up all the heats, but by the time that I'd got my shit together, I'd actually missed all of the heats in Melbourne, and the only thing that was available in Victoria was a heat in Warrnambool. So I applied for this heat in Warrnambool, which is like in regional Victoria, and I was like, okay, this will be a first, you know, a drag queen heading in a car all the way to Warrnambool, and I did not know how it was going to go. I thought it could go one or two ways. You know, I could get there and they'd love it, or I could get there and, you know, I get stabbed. So I got into this bar, everyone's in wife beaters, and I'm just like, yep, this is how I die. Get up on stage, do my set for Raw, and it went over a hit, and I ended up winning that heat and going through to the other rounds, and from there met a lot of great people, and here we are. So yeah, I'm actually really glad that I had that kind of trial by fire somewhere like Warrnambool, because it got it all started for me.
But it's like I always say, opinions are like assholes. Mine's the best.
Well, that was my first stand-up gig. Before Raw, I had been doing a lot of stage comedy, like sketches and musical theatre, and drag had always been a big hobby of mine, and I really wanted to kind of like marry the two. So I thought, I'm going to do it, I'm going to dive in, I'm going to give it a go and try it all at once. So I gave myself permission and dived in, and yeah, it was great. Other than the obvious difference between my on-stage and off-stage personas, I would say that I'm not actually as different from my regular day boy self that people would expect. I'm a lot more honest in my comedy as Charity, because I feel like I'm able to kind of take it all off at the end of the night. So if people don't like it, well, that's on them, and I don't necessarily have to kind of like take that baggage home with me. So I found that through performing in drag and as Charity, I've found my comedy to be a lot more authentic and me. And it's a lot of fun.
For example, I have discovered that my boyfriend is a stress cleaner. So for those of you who aren't familiar with stress cleaners, it's someone who, like, when they're nervous or anxious about something, they just like to like fix things or like clean up around the house. So I've been keeping him in like a constant state of anxiety. And our house is immaculate. Some days when I'm like really not feeling it, I'll be waiting in the hallway cupboard when he comes home from work, just like, baby, it's an earthquake. And he's like, oh my God, I gotta do the dishes.
My comedy career goal is definitely to have my own stage show. I love music theatre, as I said, and I really want to marry my comedy with a full-fledged production. You know, I would love to be supported by like an awesome band or something like that. That would definitely be the dream. I'd also love to write my own TV show or something like that. They're definitely my aspirations.
So we were doing what bored couples do, you know. We were making out in the back row when this guy, about 5 rows ahead of us, who's there with his girlfriend, spins around, and he's just kind of like, oi, get that gay shit out of my face. And I'm just like quickly counting, you know, I'm like, we're 5 rows behind you. Like, we're literally not in your face. Like, face the front, dickhead. And he's just kind of like, oi, don't try it. I could beat you up. My girlfriend could beat you up. And then my boyfriend's like, no, I'm sure your girlfriend is a good person. And then this guy comes back with the shittest response that I have ever heard. And he's just kind of like, she's not a good person. And then to make matters worse, she just spins around as well, just kind of like, I'm really not.
The Comedy Zone is at Trades Hall. We're on every night of the festival from the 26th of March to the 21st of April. We're on at 8:30, except for Sundays when it's 7:30. And we're in the meeting room at Trades Hall. So if you can, come down. It's going to be a good time.
Thanks, guys. I'm Charity Werk. Have a great night.
I'm Bec Melrose. I'm from New South Wales and I've been doing comedy for a little bit over a year. Comedy Zone is a showcase of 5 up-and-coming comics from around the country. It's going to be a great show. I'm very excited to work with all of the other comics. We've only just met for the first time today, most of them, and I'm really looking forward to spending some time with them and getting to know them as people. I very much enjoy their comedy, so hopefully I enjoy them as people. We'll see.
I'm a bit sore at the moment. I got a trial to try out F45. If you haven't heard of it, it's that high-intensity interval training. I thought it would be a really nice compliment to my high-intensity interval eating, so I thought, let's give this a go.
Raw comedy was how I got started in stand-up. I had a really great time going through all the heats in New South Wales, and I had the chance to come down to Melbourne and perform down here at the Town Hall. I remember walking out on the stage and it was huge. I'd never seen so many empty seats in all my life and it was breathtaking, but it was a really great start.
Ultimately, we're all at the gym for the same reason though, aren't we? We're all there to endear ourselves to a sexual partner. But I couldn't date any of these guys, you know? I couldn't date anyone who would consider my puss a cheat meal.
My first ever comedy gig was actually improv, and I don't remember much of it because I was terrified, but I do remember that it looked like my teammates needed help. I had no idea what to do, so I went out and pretended to be a filing cabinet, which was not a strong choice.
I do think we're being a little bit too tough on men though. It's been a tough year for men. I had this realisation when I was at the chiropractor, and after charging me $120 for an assessment, he basically told me I just need to stick my chest out more when I walk. And I thought, oh, for all these years, men yelling at me from passing cars were just trying to hand out free postural advice.
I do have pre-show rituals. I power pose in the toilets before I go on stage and I eat Skittles.
We're doing it tough at my work at the moment too. My boss is trying to keep morale up amongst a spate of redundancies. Last year he tried to get us to do the Melbourne Cup and no one was interested in doing a sweep, and I felt kind of sorry for him, so I thought we'll do our own sweep. I printed out everyone's faces and put us into a bowl. We all drew someone out. Now we just have to wait and see who gets the next redundancy.
I'd say my onstage persona is pretty close to real life me. It's probably me with 10% more sass. Something about me that not many people would know is last year me and my family won Family Feud. It was fabulous. I think it's the best thing I've ever done.
It's a beautiful day for it. The race that stops a nation. The Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup. Janet from Accounts is playing up in the barriers. And what do you know it, Alan, the IT lead, has made it to the start after having every Monday off for the last financial quarter. It's a miracle. They're all in. The lights are on. Set. Racing in the Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup. Carmel from Comms has started strong, closely followed by As Per My Last Email. Do you have 5 for a quick chat? And Kathleen, what do you even do? They round the first corner and Who Called the Unions coming down the outside, buffeted by Kira Lee, the intern. Mansplain Mark is midfield on the rails just behind Not Before I've Had My Coffee, and that's not in my job description. Coming down the straight is Unsolicited Neck Massage, Unmet KPI, and a length off Some Cunt Ate My Sandwich.
I actually know my spirit animal for real. I had a reading and my spirit animal is an orca. I have no idea why, but the reading involved throwing dust onto a fire and then your spirit animal would emerge. But they'd set up this scenario where we were in the middle of the forest and this orca emerged and I panicked because they don't last long out of water and I don't know, but it's an orca.
Just a quick one for you's going steady. Peter from Risk is yelling but nobody's listening. Half ahead to, for God's sake, Rob, wipe out the microwave. Oh, we've had a fall. It's Kira Lee the intern. Kira Lee the intern's broken down at the 6:50 and Neil says millennials just can't hack it in the workplace after all. Deborah, the gender and diversity lead, is going strong, having a renaissance in relevance after some dodgy comments were made at the Christmas party. Janet from accounts hasn't wasted energy on a single smile as they head for home, and who called the unions out in front of Monday morning small talk? Carmel from Comms, an awkward birthday song. But here comes accidental reply all.
Comedy Zone is on at the Trades Hall every night except Wednesdays, and on Sunday nights at 7:30, every other night it's 8:30.
So my name is Emma Holland. I am 23 years old and I'm from Canberra in the Australian Capital Territory. And I've been doing comedy for, I think probably 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. My first ever gig was the most nervous I've ever been in my life. I didn't eat that whole day. I had planned it a month beforehand. I'd looked up the gig, written my 5 minutes and practiced it over and over again for 2 weeks. The day of, I went to the venue and even made sure there was an open mic there that night so I didn't just turn up. And then the material went okay. I would never do it now, but it was all right. It went fine.
I am a big history buff. I quite like history. I've been doing a lot of research lately into the gold rush, what was happening in Bathurst in the 1800s. And I found it very interesting, the concept of inflation, the fact that something back then that was worth maybe $3 could be worth hundreds now. So I did a bit of research into the type of things that were found during the gold rush when panning for gold. And I've put them into a chart of what they're worth now, and I think it will surprise you, actually. So this first one, this is just a gold flake, and they're worth $43 each now, which is insane for something so small, isn't it? Yeah. Next we have a gold flake, which is worth $150, going up a bit. Next we have, these are tickets to Golden Plains Music Festival, $399 with $8.50 purchasing. Next we have, these are Golden Girls prayer candles, $800 for the set or $200 each, but no one's buying just one, are they? Next we've got Jeff Goldblum worth $40 million. Next we have a golden retriever, which is priceless. And lastly, we have that time in 2009 when Ryan Seacrest tried to high-five the blind guy on American Idol. Now that's pure gold.
I think the onstage me is very dry and doesn't smile and looks kind of confused as to how I got onto stage. And the offstage me is very, I guess, a lot happier. I had someone come up to me after a gig and said oh, that was really great. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, that's so nice of you. And then she looked a bit taken aback and went, you're so much more smiley in person. I was like, I'm gonna choose to take that as a compliment, but I think there's some parts of the onstage me that, I guess the actual sense of humour is pretty much exactly the same as who I am as a person, which makes sense, but.
This is the statue of David by Michelangelo. I get what he was going for. It is good. But I guess my major issue is that I don't know this David. I don't know who that is. And like I said, in art, it's important to have a face to resonate with. So I've just changed it. We could have a few options. We've got David Schwimmer. We could also have Larry David, also an option. This is my friend Rachel's uncle David. And lastly, this is American magician David Blaine. Now I've added some detailing in the abdomen area that I'd like to zoom in on because I think it's important. So what I plan on doing with him is I just want to add a bit. He's very good, isn't he?
Love them all very, very funny. Charity Werk is unbelievably talented. I heard her sing for the first time last week and it was rage-inducing. That's how good it was. Bec's incredible, so sharp, so funny. I haven't seen a lot of David and Ben yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll see plenty of them. I don't really have any pre-show rituals. I tend to just sit in a room by myself and kind of think about what I'm doing and why I'm here. And then I go out and make people laugh. My post-show ritual is to sigh for 10 minutes straight and then try and figure out if that actually went well or not.
And sometimes I like to do a bit of observational comedy as well. So I thought a good way to translate that to you would be through some easily digestible scales that I can show you, just to show off my quantitative side. So this first scale is called Videos I Watch to Get Off, and it ranges from sexy to very sexy. On the sexy end, we have regular porn, and on the very sexy end, we have the most beautiful moments of fair play in Wimbledon 2014.
Something about me not many people would know is that I grew up in Indonesia. I didn't grow up in Australia, so I lived in Indonesia as a kid and then moved back when I was about 16. My spirit animal is Bjork, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I hate flyering with a passion, only because I just know that I'm like upsetting someone and I'm ruining someone's day, even if it's just for a second. But I think the best way to do it is just be overly enthusiastic about it. So I guess last year there was a lot of like leaping into people's walking path, and even if they say no to you, at least like they don't feel like they've made you sad by saying no. So I guess it's all just about empathy. My comedy career goal is to keep enjoying being on stage and never hate it. I think the minute I stop enjoying being on stage, I'll stop doing comedy. The Comedy Zone is on every night except Wednesday nights at Trades Hall, 8:30 is on weekdays and 7:30 is on Sundays. And I will be there.
Hello, I'm Dave. I'm directing Comedy Zone and Comedy Zone Asia 2019. The Comedy Zone is important because it's a really hard thing to do. Like putting on a festival, you have to bankroll it yourself. And so for the comedy festival to have this initiative where they handpick 5 different acts, 4 to 5 different acts every year, and they put them together and they structure it with an MC and an order. And it's got great branding, so the public recognize Comedy Zone and they come to it expecting a certain standard. So it's great for audiences and comedians. Comedians get to, I guess, be partially sheltered from the challenges, financial particularly, and they don't have to hustle as much. So that's really nice for them. And then the audiences get to see 5 of the best upcomers in one package in 1 hour. So it's really handy for them too. So it's a brilliant initiative. I think to a huge degree, I think comedians direct themselves because they know their character. I mean, and they know kind of their material better than anybody else. So they really direct themselves. So I guess it's more of a mentorship. So there for for them anytime they need me just to bounce ideas off me or get advice. I mean, I've been studying martial arts, and the word sensei, who you learn the martial arts off, the Japanese word means someone who's been down the road before you. So, yeah, sensei is someone who's just been further along the road and kind of hit those potholes and those little bumps and, things to trip over. And so having a good understanding of a lot of those things, having fallen over on my face on stage many times, literally and metaphorically, I can kind of... Yeah, I can help them overcome those things and maybe look out for some things that they might not be aware of yet. It just so happened that I had a year off this year, and so I came back on board. Did it last year as well, so I've done about 3 or 4 of them all up over the last decade. Yeah, and so again, the position has been the same, just to mentor and help people kind of bounce their ideas off me. Often not the case with the Aussie guys, but Zone Asia in particular, they often have many questions about, cultural references and cultural kind of touchstones that they may need an equivalent for, and so bits and pieces like that. It varies again from zone to zone. So, just being there for them, encouragement and that kind of thing has been the role over the few years that I've done it. Yeah. This year's cast members are great. Bec Melrose from New South Wales won Raw Comedy last year, so safe bet, really strong act. Great kind of, I guess it's observational stand-up with a bit of a absurd twist. So it's quite surreal in some ways. So yeah, hot ticket. She's Raw winner. So yeah, guaranteed good time, and she's fantastic person. Yeah. Ben's also from New South Wales. He's fantastic. He's the MC, and it's become clear to me through doing a few comedy zones who's an experienced MC and who isn't, and he has been picked obviously because he is, and you can tell just in the sessions we've had so far that he's very strong. He knows how to get a crowd going and interact with them. You kind of have to have one foot in the crowd as an MC just to kind of understand both sides, and he's definitely got that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes out on stage in front of a pumping weekend crowd, for example. Charity Werk is amazing diva. She is a songstress. She's got some great kind of observational comedy as well. Yeah, just great sort of I guess societal commentary, I guess is the phrase I was looking for. So, a wonderful person to have kind of come in and kind of drop all kind of biases or if people come in who are prejudiced or anything like that. Cuts right through that with amazing wit and fun and a finisher you won't believe. So Charity's fantastic. David Woodhead is fantastic. I worked with him on black comedy on the ABC, and he's a young guy. He reminds me so much of me when I was starting comedy out. He's got a big beard and curly hair, so and he's just a really lovely guy. He's like a jolly giant. He's really super tall but super friendly as well. Yeah, so you'd probably meet him in a dark alley and get very frightened and then realize he's a big teddy bear. Very funny as well. Yeah. Emma Holland's great. She's from ACT. I'm not sure that we've had many from the ACT. It's a hard place to kind of start comedy, because there's not much rooms and not much stage time, which you need to kind of get to the level that she's at. So she's done incredibly well, worked hard, and she's a lovely bit of texture for the show because she's super visual. Like she has lots of flashcards, big ones on a easel, and so her jokes have got like double impact because she's doing them verbally and non-verbally. So yeah, super funny and a real treat. It's just a great ticket, it's reliable branding. The comedy festival, they work so hard. Like they genuinely pick out 5 people who are already great because they've worked so hard in the past, but they also recognize something about their future. So the comedy festival recognize that they're great, A, they're different from everybody else, B, and C, they're going somewhere and they've got ambition. So they want to nurture that and help that along and put a bit of wind beneath their wings, to use a tired cliche. So they do that tirelessly all year long. They don't rest on their laurels. They're seeing all the raw heats every year. They're seeing, all the comedy clubs around the country. They go to Asia during the road show. There's a road show that goes around the country here and to Southeast Asia. They're getting out there. They're sitting through hours and hours of comedy and distilling it into this show and the Comedy Zone Asia. So you gotta come along because that's not a small feat, and it's a treat for audiences because you get the fruit of that labor, which is the best of Southeast Asia and Australia. Yeah. Great night out.